Yeah, so hello everybody. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's great today. It's a beautiful day, and I'm going to take you guys through the production of the Because of You beat. The various things that I did was working on the beat and why I do certain things. Yeah, so let's get into it quickly. So for starters, most producers that produce Afropop music normally like to start with a drum patterns and all that because it makes production quite easy. It's the basis for which the piano melodies or whatever keys or melodic instruments you're gonna put on the track are built on. So people like to just fix whatever they want to get down with a groove, and then once they get a groove, they just add whatever they feel like adding. But I'm more of a melodic kind of person. I like the melodic feel of production. So I always sometimes, or most of the time, play the melodies first before I decide how the progressions of the kick is gonna go like. So I started with a Steinway grand piano, which just sounds like this. Pretty simple. 4 chords, repeating itself over and over again, like twice. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, like that. Very simple. Right from the Steinway, I moved on to arranging this sample. This sample is out of the Ultra Beat rack. This is it's a stock plugin from Logic Pro X, Apple Logic Pro X. So as you can see, it's here. That's the pedal hi-hat and then the open hi-hat. They're just the two things that are playing currently right now. And then I compressed it a little bit because originally this is how it's gonna sound like. Basically, you can't even hear it. So I brought it up front a little bit. I thought about adding a reverb, but I changed my mind, It makes it kind of repeat itself. There's too much resonance in it, so I took that out. And then I moved on to the kick. So that's basically the kick progressions. At certain portions, I just cut the kick, not to play. Like what just happened. And so that's how I had a kick. The kick is from a sample rack 2. And then from that, I moved on to this tom. It's a triple snare. And then, and a clap. Yes, so, and then that's basically the progression I had for that part to work alongside with the kick and then the open hi-hat and closed hi-hat. And then I changed it when I was getting to the second part of the verse. But for this portion, they are all samples I picked, samples from other places, samples that other producers use here and there and all that. And you can hear the panning when it gets to that portion, where you can feel that, that hi-hat playing itself out. It's very clear that there was automation there, to just give it a nice, soothing feel, Because I felt like with no automation of panning, if it's just to play in the mains, it's gonna feel ununique or crowded. It's gonna sound like this. And that wasn't anything fun. So I decided why don't I just pan it so that it sounds like it's responding to the hi-hat, So that's what I did then. And then for the chorus, this is what I did. I just made a mix. I brought a little bit of the beginning and then a little bit of what was around this region. So basically, I took a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and then I put that here as a chorus portion. And that's how I had the third portion of the drum arrangement. Then we move on to this, I guess is the toms. Exactly. Yeah. With the toms too, also a sample that I used. And exactly. I used snare roll. So that's what I had for that portion of the drum arrangement. So right after that, I moved on to creating the bass line. You know, most Afropop beats definitely always have to have a bass line. Like, it is a mandatory thing. You know, African rhythms need bass lines at least. So I moved on to the bass line, which went this way. You can hear that the bass line, if you really listen to the bass, you realize that the bass guitar is not playing in a normal way. Like, when I say a normal way, I mean straight bass lines. You feel like the note plays like, and one note climbs up and the other one drops. If it was to be a normal bass line, this is what it would have been. That is what it would have been, according to the progressions that I used. Okay, but since I wanted to add a new feel, a new style, I switched it up a little bit by gliding the bass note, and so I used it. It's just an FX here called Glide, just beside Pitcher in EX S24. And I dragged it up a little bit to where I wanted it, made the bass line sound fat, as you can see. And then it plays like this. So this time you can feel that, like it's climbing, that climbing feel. So that's how I had that climbing feel. It's not a bass effect that is already there. It's just something within the plugins that you just have to tweak a little bit, and then you're right, you get it. So basically for that, the drum arrangement basically sounded like this. Yeah, so that's how the drum arrangement sounded. So it plays like that, and then when it gets to the second portion of the verse, the bass line kicks in like this. And then getting to the end, I cut the drum instruments, allowing the bass alone to play. So basically that's how I had that part. And then for the chorus area, the only extra things that I added was a Yamaha piano, which I just changed the melody arrangement. The original one sounded like this, which was a main kind of thing, And so I felt like for the chorus part, let's switch it up a little bit. It can't still be playing the same old thing throughout. The song is quite long. So I played a different arrangement that sounded like this. And then that one came together with the original piano Steinway to sound like this. Yeah, and then it goes back to the verse. Now, with the mixing, you can see very well that both of them are playing, and you can still differentiate them. You can feel the original Steinway, and you can still feel the Yamaha. It's not like when it gets to the chorus, the Steinway mutes and the Yamaha plays, and yet they are not clouded. You can actually separate the two sounds you are hearing in two separate pianos, and it's simply because of what I went into doing to the compressor, and then the tip delay. But today's not that day, so I will not go into that. How to compress and equalize two instruments that are the same but just sound slightly different, and for the listener to actually be able to separate them. They don't sound clouded or muddy in the track. Today's not that day. So that's what I did for that part. And then I simply added some parts. Definitely Afro beats always, most of the time, has parts. So I added a fast part, very, very low. Just to play in the normal chords like a string effect instrument. Then I added a power part. So the power part is going to brace the fast part, and then at the other two more portions of the fast part, I added a slide part, which also sounded this way. Now, there's one thing you can notice when you listen to the power part. The power part does not just play the straight chord like the fast part. It plays it and filters and does some sort of panning and spreads the sound as it keeps playing the chords. Let's listen to it again. Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's happening because of the various things that are done here. There's a detune here, there's a sine level wave, there's a cutoff here, and it shows the range at which the cutoff should happen. There's a flip bend, an amp, and then a second cutoff. That, in conjunction with all these crazy knobs here, are what makes the power part play and pound the way it's sounding. So right after that, the last thing that I added was my trap bass. My trap bass FX, which sounded like this. Yeah, so my trap bass, I added, and basically that was the whole song. Now you'd realize that when the trap bass plays, when the chorus portion plays and it gets to the end here, the trap bass exactly mutes, and then the fast part equally mutes. When the Keza is here, it's playing, and it gets here, it's still playing. The moment it gets to the end, it all mutes. When it gets to this portion, it comes back alive again. It plays at this section, and when it gets to the end, it mutes again. The reason why that happened is because I used the mute tool. And as you can see, this is the mute tool. Likewise, the same mute tool I used here for the fast part. The reason why I use the mute tool is because the trap bass, being a melodic instrument, when it plays, it's the last note, the tip of the last note expands. And it expands into the beginning of the second verse, which create some sort of interference. And since I don't want that, I use the mute tool to cut it off, to tell the software that when it gets to this portion, trap bass or nothing around that area should play in its sound. So when you listen to it, you're going to listen to it now without the mute tool, and you see how it's going to expand into the beat. You felt that vibration, that extra vibration. Listen again. That's a vibration I didn't want. It's from other people, that is not really much an issue. They wouldn't have a problem with that. But I wanted a clear cut sound. Likewise, the fast part, the same thing. When I take the mute tool of the fast part and I play it, you would see that the last note expands. You know, and since I also didn't want that for the fast part, I cut it out. So by so doing, it plays, and then when it gets to that portion, it cuts clean like this. So it ends up then it goes back, it begins the second verse. Making it very clean, like it's very, very pretty clean. You don't have issues there, here and there and all that. So that's basically what went into producing Because of You. Yeah, nothing more, nothing less. And I would play the song for you to listen to it. Yeah, I'm trying to look for it. Play it, and then you can have a feel of what Because of You is going to sound like when it's finally done.
She know they fit to admit any mistakes, but every day she the wine pon this place. Charlie, she they make God the quiz. See, I no good fit to handle this case. And if you know say I good for you, they make you show love, make you treat me cool. And if you know say I good for you, they make you no see me fool. Eh? Then I'll palm in my own. They say me baby around yeah would they? Or don't let me do one thing, me go me home. Yeah. Then I'll palm in my own. They say me baby around yeah would they? Or don't let me do one thing, me go me home. Because of you, baby. Look at me, that change my world. It's because of you, baby. Cause you know, say you got my time. It's because of you, baby. So now you will wreck my brain. Yeah, no time. See, I've been loving you every day. Yeah, you know how I feel about you.
Yeah, so that's just a little bit of it. That's Because of You. How the lyrics are on the beat. It's not totally mixed. It's just very, very simple, basic, clear mix for you to actually hear the vocals. We're still working on it. So it's been nice showing you how I produce the beat, and I hope the fans enjoy it, and then those who also want to learn a lot about production also get it. You can ask questions, subscribe to my page, and let me know whatever it is you need help with. If I can, I'm gonna let you down on that. Mappa J, I'm out.